Hello and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. I'm going to show you an instrument and I'm assuming you're going to say, let me hold it over here a little bit, it might be easier to see. And I'm assuming you're going to say it looks like a piano. It looks just like a piano. It has a little music stand attached to it. It has the black and white keys. This is actually a Hona melodica made in Germany, a very wonderful melodica. I use it a lot, and there's more than one way to play it. So I just want to show it to you because I'm going to be spending some time discussing pianos today, and I thought this would be a good thing to start out. There are actually two ways that I can play this. I can play this by, there's a little mouthpiece kind of tone hole on the side of it. I can take a little hose that came with it, and I can attach it, and then I can put it on my lap like so, and I actually can play it by blowing air in it through the hose and then fingering it just as if for a regular piano. I'll do that just for a couple of seconds here so you can hear it. It plays chords very nice. It sounds a little like an accordion, and you can blow in as much as air as you want to. I can control the volume depending upon how much air I blow in, and I can just sit there and play it. And I've done that before, and people have thought to themselves, what am I doing playing a hose if they don't hear me, if they don't see the whole thing? But there is another way to play it too. I'll take off the hose, and I have a mouthpiece, and I would attach the mouth. I would take off the little music stand, and there's a little piece that juts out. I can put my hand in the strap. There's a strap in the back of it. Hold it with my left hand, blow into it, and finger it with my right hand. And I can play it just like that. That way I'm not moving my left hand up and down, I'm just holding it. Either way is all right. It's a very nice little instrument. But I brought it in because it is like a type of piano when you stop to think of it. It's got the black and white keys, and you play it. It's got a couple of octaves on it, a little more than a couple of octaves. And so it's very easy to play. You don't have to blow a lot of air in it to get a sound out of it. So what I want to do today is to talk to you about pianos. I brought pictures of keyboards and little keyboards in before for the purpose of showing you various things in terms of how notes relate to each other. But I'm going to do kind of like a special lesson just on pianos itself. Not necessarily what key is close to what key or what the minor or major keys are, but just talk about the instruments themselves because they really are a wonderful instrument. Here, if you look at it, I'm going to be using this notebook, which I've specially prepared. Here's a grand piano. This is a baby grand. A baby grand is about 5 feet. This one is 5 feet 8 inches long, and it has pedals in the front. I want you to take a look at those pedals if you can, because they are important. I'll be getting into what the pedals do a little later, but this is a full-size baby grand. Now, you can get grand pianos that are very, very long and very, very large. This one is the baby grand. Let me turn the page here. They are beautiful instruments. This one is made out of mahogany. You can make them they can be made out of different types of wood. This is a grand piano. It's a little bigger than the baby grand. It's over 6 feet, and it's ebony. It's not mahogany. Here again, you get those same 3 pedals. And it's a very beautiful instrument. Some people build music rooms in their houses so they can keep their grand pianos, and I'll talk a little about that later on, where a piano should and shouldn't be put. So let me give you some information about the piano. I'm going to be using some charts here that I have made up. and this is what it is. A piano, I'm going to be talking about harpsichords as well, pianos and harpsichords. The piano can be called piano as it usually is, but also it can be called the pianoforte, or it can be called the forte piano. When it was being devised, it was called pianoforte. There was a reason for that. People had been playing harpsichords, and harpsichords had no volume control. You couldn't get them loud, you couldn't get them soft. So when the piano was developed, you could get various volumes out of it, so it was really a cut above what a harpsichord was. Now, you have concert grand pianos, baby grand pianos. They're usually about 5 feet or so long. You can have upright pianos. They're also called vertical pianos. You can even get concert vertical pianos. They're a little bit more sophisticated. You can get spinets, roll-up pianos, keyboards, accordions, and so forth. There's lots of keyboard types of instruments. The piano was invented by Bartolomeo Cristofori. He was in Florence, he was Italian, and it was an advance over the harpsichord. It was invented in about the 1700s. Actually, one of the longest pianos that exists is over 9 feet long, and it costs $77,000. Grand pianos, concert grand pianos, they're very, very expensive. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, there's been more music written for piano than any other instruments. And there is a difference between the harpsichord and the piano. I could not find a good picture of a harpsichord. But the harpsichord looks like a piano, plays like a piano, has everything like a piano. However, it has a different kind of sound to it. And I have a little keyboard here where I can show you what the sound is. This is just a small keyboard, but it does have a harpsichord setting, so I'm going to use that. Let me see. Just listen to the sound of this. Kind of a tinny sound. That's really a pretty good rendition of what a harpsichord sounds like, just like that. And you can't change it. You know, that you can't get settings. You can't change that kind of tinny sound. That's the way it is. But if you go to Messiah presentations where people are singing the Messiah, Handel's Messiah, they don't use a piano. They always use a harpsichord. And it's a nice instrument, but piano is a lot better in the fact that they can get volume out of it. The piano strings are struck with hammers. The harpsichord strings, there are strings in these instruments, and the strings of a harpsichord are struck by little pinpoint picks, sometimes quills, sometimes made out of leather, but they're little picks, and so therefore they're not hammers. With the piano, the strings are struck by hammers, actually hammers, they have hammer heads, and the loudness depends upon how hard the key is pressed. Now, on little keyboards, such as the one I showed you with the setting of the harpsichord on it, usually your volume is controlled by some kind of a lever. You just push it to the right or left, depending upon how loud you want it to be. But a piano, you can control the individual notes by the amount of pressure that you actually put on the key. So you do have volume control. The reason the piano, when it was invented in the 1700s, is called the pianoforte. Forte means loudness. Forte means noise. And it gives an indication that they could get a lot of noise out of a piano. As a matter of fact, a concert artist can bang on the piano so hard they actually break the strings, and the strings have to be replaced. Now, the most well-known piano companies that build concert pianos is going to be Steinway, Baldwin, and Kuai. I want to mention Kuai. Kuai is considered to be, it's not a particularly familiar name to most people, but the Kuai is just as good, absolutely just as good as the Steinway or the Baldwin. And there was a time when Kuai was going to buy out Steinway, and I don't know if they ever did or not. But you also have Yamahas, Casio, Rolands, Honers, and they're all very good. Yamahas and Casio, Roland, and Honers are probably not as expensive, where you could pay like $30,000 for a grand piano. A Yamaha might cost $6,000 to $10,000. It is cheaper, but they're also very, very good instruments. I own a number of Yamahas and Casios and Honers. My melodicas are all Honers. And I have played on Rolands, and they're very, very good, so there's nothing wrong with them at all. It's just to get the best of the best of the best, it costs a lot of money. Now, the harpsichords were built in the 1600s, pianos in the 1700s. The harpsichord was a precursor of the piano. The strings were plucked, as I mentioned before, by quill points or leather points, and you had no control of the volume, so it sounds a little tinny. It's just the way it is, that can't be changed. A piano has 88 keys. 52 white keys and 36 black keys, making a total of 88 keys. It plays 4 octaves above middle C, and the lowest note is going to be the 4th A below middle C. I'm going to show you that in a minute, because I'm going to put up another chart for that. The total range of a piano is 7 1/3 octaves. Well, you can get an awful lot of music out of 7 1/3 octave. There is a German make, Bosendorfer. That is a piano that has 8 full octaves, so it goes a little bit more, a few more notes than what the others usually do. Most of them are 88 notes. An 8-octave range would be a little bit longer. It's built with several types of wood, ebony and mahogany I've shown you, maple and spruce, and black walnut. My mother had a piano, it was an upright piano, and it was totally made out of black walnut. Several types of wood may be present in the same instruments. I know Steinway usually uses spruce for its soundboards, but different piano companies do it in different ways. They are amazing and very, very complicated instruments. The piano is very complicated. It has hammers, strings, bridges, ribs. The soundboard, if a soundboard is cracked, you may as well not use it, because it can't resonate the music. It can't get the music out. You get the plucking of the strings, but it is the soundboard that makes the music really resound. And you can't always see a crack in a soundboard, but if you do have a crack in a soundboard, the piano probably will not be able to be played. It has plates, pin blocks, treble termination pieces. For a piano, like an upright or a baby grand, it has 7,500 moving parts. Your average piano has that many moving parts. If you have a concert grand, then you have probably over 12,000 moving parts. And that's an awful lot. Now, I've mentioned the the pedals to you. And so if you are pretending that you're looking at a piano, there are 3 pedals on the bottom. The pedal to the right is a sustained pedal, and that holds the tone. If you play a tone, if you play something and you just hold on to that sustained pedal, that note just stays. You could lift your hand off the key, it's still going to play for a while, probably 10 to 11 seconds, depending upon how hard you strike the key to begin with. Not forever. It will gradually fade out, but you can take your hands off the keyboard and that tone will still hold for several seconds. So that's the sustain key. The middle key is also another sustain pedal, but it works a little differently. The circumstances are a little different. If you play like some low notes and step on the middle sustain, it will hold those notes. You can play other notes and it doesn't hold them. You can just play with them. So you can get a long bass note or a long bass chord, and then you play other things and they don't hold. And that's made that way. You could do the same thing in reverse. You could play some treble notes and just hit that sustain key and it will hold them. The instrument will just continue to play them, but it won't hold anything else. So you could play some bass notes and do this and that, and it wouldn't hold them. So under certain circumstances you would use the sustain pedal. And on the one on the left, that's a damper. The damper pedal makes things softer, so you play it and you press the damper pedal and it's soft. The music is all soft. And so that's what it is like. That's what those are for. I want to mention that pedaling is an art. And I've seen so many students just play. You know, they hit the sustain pedal and then they think they sound good because it's loud, the notes are sustained, and you know, it's not good piano playing at all. You have to know how to pedal, and you have to know how to pedal right. Because if you don't, all of the notes are just going to blur together. And it might sound all right to an amateur, but it's just not what you should be doing to a piano. It won't hurt the piano, but the music won't be good. So you have to learn how to do it, and when to do it, and when not to do it, and lift up the sustain pedal when you lift it up, when you put it down. This just is a picture I got of the inside of a grand piano. It shows some of the things. It's very, very complicated. You've got all of these hammers, and you've got strings, and you've got the soundboard. There's an awful lot that can go wrong. This up here would be the lid. You push up the lid, you can see the inside. So let me go on to the next one. I want to point out to you the parts of the piano. Here it is. This is a sketch of a piano. What are the parts? Well, here's the keyboard, of course. Here's the music stand where you put the music. This apparatus underneath the piano that holds these three pedals in place, that's called a lyre, spelled L-Y-R-E. These, of course, are the pedals. The place, the wood that surrounds it is the case of the instrument. This is a lid on a grand piano. You don't get this on an upright, but on a grand piano, you can lift up the top of that piano to different levels. The more you open it up, the louder the instrument is going to be, because it's going to let more sound out. But you don't have to have it all the way up. You can have it up just a little bit, or you can just keep it closed if you don't want to have it too loud. This part of the piano that's flat, this part is curved, but there's one flat side, and that is called the spine. The three pedals are here, the sustain pedal on the right, a sustain pedal in the middle, the damper pedal on the left. So let me just move this. What is the cost of a piano? Concert grand pianos can be over $70,000 easily. Grand pianos can be over $30,000 easily. Your uprights and your concert uprights and those that aren't so sophisticated, around $13,000. It's not unusual to pay $13,000 for an upright. And I was going to talk to you about accordions and spinets, roll-up pianos, melodicas, all of these. And you have guitars with arrangement of keys on them. There are a lot of instruments that are piano-like. I was supposed to bring in a toy accordion, and I didn't remember to do that. Now, these are upright pianos. They're called also vertical pianos. They're upright. And a lot of people have them. You can place them up against a wall. They don't take a lot of space. You can get something even smaller. You can get a spinet. A spinet is a very short piano. It's like an upright, but it doesn't have any building, any wooden block up here. So it stops pretty much where the keys are, a little above that. They're made to be apartment-sized pianos, pianos where you don't have a lot of space, and they're shorter. Sometimes they don't even have a full keyboard on them, but a lot of them do have a full keyboard on them. They're made for apartments and small areas, and they usually have a full set of keys, but not always. Here is just a regular keyboard with a kitten sitting beside it, namely mine. Then you have the roll-up pianos. A roll-up piano has some advantages and disadvantages. It is a piano, it does work, and you can drape it over your arm as you're carrying it. You have to lay it out on a flat surface. There are two problems with them. The main problem is they don't last very long. I've had 3 of them, and after about 18 months or so, they just quit. They don't play anymore. So you're really kind of wasting your money to buy them. But they're handy because you can just take them anywhere. The other problem they have is the fact that they're flat. There's no indentation. If I take a keyboard and I play a note, the note actually goes down. But not on this. It's like it's been painted or something, and so you have to press it and press it and press it, but there's no indentation, no movement of the key. This can cause back problems. It can cause problems with your arms, overuse problems, because you're constantly pressing against an instrument that appears to be resisting. Well, I wanted to show you one more thing, so I'm going to take this down. The piano, as you know, has 4 octaves up and about 3 octaves down from middle C. This is a keyboard. It has all of the 88 keys on it. This is middle C, and when I said you have 4 octaves above, here's 1 C, here's 1 C, here's 1 C, here's 1 C. 4 octaves above the middle C. There are 3 octaves below the middle C. This is 1, this is 1, this is 1 plus 2 notes. And so therefore you have your keyboard having 7 1/3 octaves. Here's the middle C as it appears on the chart. Here is where it is. And the range that recorders will do will be 2 octaves, so it'll be up here. The flutes can go another octave, and the piano can play 1 octave above that. So I'm going to close it here. I just kind of want to give you an introduction to them and see what the instrument is like, since I talk about it enough. And so I'm going to close it here, and we will continue with something else next time. Please join me then.